For the pistol squat, we need to understand that it is just a single leg squat. Because of this, it means that you're only using one leg to move your body. So it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to be one of the hardest movements that you will do here on Ritual. Now, the points of items we want to focus on are the heel stays on the ground. We want to make sure the knee is tracking forward, right? Never caving in. And we're trying to do our best to keep our chest as upright as possible, but there's some nuances there. Now, I like to call single leg squats, pistol squats, a stupid human trick, AKA it's okay if a lot of us never get to the point that we're able to do it, but it is one of the most, as most stupid human tricks is, potent tools that we can have to build posterior chain strength, butt and hamstring, right? And it keeps joints really able to move through long ranges of motion. Now, for those of us that might be a little tight, when I do pistol squats, I have to hold a foot. Go for it, coach, right? Now you can hold a foot in, you can stretch it out. There's a lot of other items, especially if you have a tight hamstring, right? Or your hip flexor is just not used to being able to hold this leg nice straight out. If you are having a hard time, right, with the pistol squat and your foot keeps on hitting the ground, well, then go ahead and throw, right, your foot out when you're standing, right? Grab it, pull it up, and then as you go down, you're just gonna keep on pulling to make sure that heel doesn't hit the ground, because the full range of motion is when we're really ever just allowing that plant foot to touch. Now, it is okay to allow the chest to pitch forward, right? Now we're talking about just kind of durability tips for those of us that have the ability to go ahead and do a pistol squat, or we feel like the heel doesn't want to pop up right away, right? That's gonna allow us to kind of find a balance point, start to turn on musculature to where we're able to get it done more and more virtuously. And then from there, you can start to work on maybe having a target in front of you and raising your eyes and always keeping that target on sight, because it's amazing, just by picking our chin up, we'll start to extend through the upper back and make sure we aren't Quasimodo. Now, we need to understand the heel has to stay on the ground the entire time. If the heel comes up, what occurs is the hip flexor, right? The hip never really goes below the knee. So therefore it's never really a squat. And also, as soon as the heel comes off the ground, we are overloading the knee, right? And then we are literally taking all of our body weight and putting it into one joint. That's where I joke around, it's a stupid human trick, because if you do it once wrong, it could really not be a good thing. So now, how do we know if we're capable of even attempting a pistol squat? I like to think about putting our feet together with our heels staying on the ground, then ask ourselves, how low can we squat? If we can squat with our hip crease getting below our knee, guess what? We have the correct amount of mobility, flexibility, and strength between our ankle and our knee and our hip and all the muscles in between those three joints to actually complete the pistol squat. Then from there, it's practicing getting the mind-body connection to work. Now, if you are like many of us, we have tight ankles or tight knees or hips, and if you can only get to here, then it means that we have a lot of unsexy work if you want to be able to do this in terms of mobility for our ankles, maybe our hips and our knees, right? And if that's the case, stay along with us, and we're gonna talk about, really this is durability tips in a way, to go ahead and still be able to work towards and substitutions for the pistol. Now, let's start with that. The first one's going to go and be what's called the shrimp squat, which is where you're gonna go and pull a toe, put it and anchor it on the back side of your Achilles or on the opposite side, outside of the foot that's on the ground. And then it allows you to still use this leg that's not on the ground for some stability and support, and allows you to see how low you can go ahead and get, right? And that can help for those of us that are like, hey, I was able to get relatively low with that narrow double leg squat, but it was hard to turn and kind of activate the correct musculature. Now from there, what we can do is we can go ahead and ask ourselves, are we going low enough? You can get a box, we can go ahead and stand forward of the box, and we can literally go ahead and do the pistol, the shrimp squat or the pistol through here, touching the ball and then coming back up. The next one is going to go ahead and be just standing on the box, sitting on the ball, there you go. Then you can put a leg out, right? And then you can stand to practice standing through that. Coach is actually really strong, so this is a really low target. So you might need to go ahead and think about moving to an actual higher item like a box. You can see how just a few inches really takes a lot of the physicality out of it, but remember, this might be a ton of work for some of us, which is fine because we're not used to all that musculature firing. Now, another item is, well, coach, like I'm actually doing relatively good with a lot of items. It's just a little bit of balance and you know what, I think I can go lower. Well, that's going to then be finding a relatively tall item. So a plyometric box would be awesome. A chair could work as well. But remember, when you're dealing with chairs and items, make sure you're on a really solid surface. That thing's not gonna shift or do anything weird on you. You're gonna go ahead and get all the way to the top. And then you're gonna go ahead and have one foot hanging off the edge. And you can use that to drag up and down the box for some stability and support. And you're gonna go as low as you can. And then you're gonna find that lowest position and you're gonna drive directly up out of that, only with the leg that's on the box. Give me one to where you kind of push off the bottom foot. Yeah, at that point, you're not really doing a single leg squat variation. You're just doing like this weird hop off of that supporting foot. So you wanna go as low as you can, pause at the point where you think you're gonna lose it, and then stand up through that. Notice, if she does it again, the butt travels back. Her chest can come forward, so you're really forcing yourself to get that posterior chain engagement through glute and hamstring. So that's gonna be a great option. Now, for those of you that have something that you can connect a band up overhead, we have something right here. You can simply go ahead and use it as a catch-all to where you can grab it. It has elasticity, you can go as low as you can, and then you can use and pull right, left, anywhere to help with balance and help you to pull yourself up. And here's the biggest thing though. You can kind of lie to yourself with this because we have a tendency to over-rely on the band for balance, strength, and you can really just kind of start to move through the motions and not get better. So if you consistently use this as an option for your single leg squat, your pistol, but you aren't progressing or getting better, then it means that you're overutilizing it. And maybe you need to pause, don't use it for a while, and go to a different variation for a little bit. Guys, those are your pistol squats. Those are some options. And remember, it's okay if you never get to this, right? And if that's the case, think of lunges and normal squats are totally fine. Or just doing squats in a narrow stance, but making sure you're going as low as you can without knee pain.